Hello and welcome everyone to this TensorFlow tutorial, and in this TensorFlow tutorial I'm going to show you arithmetic operation function in TensorFlow that you can use to perform addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. So in previous video you learned how to use different operators like a plus, minus and asterisk symbol to add, subtract and multiply the variables, and in this section TensorFlow has a different functions such as add, subtract, multiply and divide that you can directly use to perform the arithmetic operation. So let's begin. First step is to import the TensorFlow. For that, write import TensorFlow as TF, execute this cell. Now create two variables, and using this variable we will perform the operation add, subtract, multiply and divide. So let's give a name to variable x, and which is a TF dot variable, and then assign a value. So here I'm going to take value like 8.0, and now create the second variable which is boy, tf dot variable, and its value is 2. Now execute the cell to create xy variable. Now we have successfully created variable x and y. Let's perform the first arithmetic operation, which is addition, and here we will use this tf dot add, and which accepts two values x and y. So here we will provide our x and y value. Now let's call the function add function from the TensorFlow. Right here tf dot add and provide the two value that you want to add. So here the value is x and the y, and let's store the sum of the two value into a third variable which is add result. And now execute this cell. Let's print the value of add result, add res dot numpy, and now execute this cell. So as we can see, after adding 8 to 2, it returns 10. So this is how you can use the add function of TensorFlow to add the two values or the values of a two variable. You can also add vectors and matrix. Next we have a function tf.subtracts, which can subtract a value from another value. Let's perform this operation. Type here tf.subtract, and now we want to subtract 2 from the 8, or we want to subtract y variable from x. So here type x and the variable which you want to subtract, that is the y. And now let's store the result into a third variable which is a sub res equal to. Now execute the cell. Let's print the result. Print subres dot numpy, and now execute the cell. As you can see, when we subtract 2 from 8, we get 6. So as you can see here, the x variable has a value of 8 and y variable has a value of 2. So we subtracted y from x and we get the value 6. Now next we have a multiply function which can multiply two variable values. Let's also see that. So here type tf dot multiply and provide the two value that you want to multiply, or provide a two variable that you want to multiply. So here variable is x and y. Now let's store its result into a third variable which is mul res equal to. Now execute it. Let's print it value mul res dot numpy. Execute this cell to print its value. So here you can see the value is 16. So when variable x and y is multiplied, it returns the value 16. So here multiply function can be very helpful to multiply the values of the two variables. Now last we have the divide function. We can use this to divide a two variable. So let's divide the x and y. So here type div res. This is the third variable which will store the result of the division, and then call tf.divide. And now provide the two value which you want to divide, x, y. Execute it. Now let's print the value of a divres dot numpy and execute it. As you can see, when you divide 8 by 2, you get the result as 4, and that is right, you can see here. So this is the arithmetic functions like add, subtract, multiply, divide that you can use with the TensorFlow variables. So here we have performed the arithmetic functions on a variables which contains the scalar value. Now we will create a vector and perform all of these operations. So let's create a vect var1 and type here tf dot variable. This is vector, so provide a list of values. So list of values are 2, 4 and 6. Now create a second vector vec var2. Now type here tf dot variable and provide the list of values like 1, 2 and 3. Execute this to create the vector 1 and vector 2. Now let's perform addition on this vector. So here type add vec equal to, then call the add function tf.add and provide the vec1, vec2, vec var1 and vector variable 2. Execute this and next print its value add vec dot numpy. Execute it. You can see here we have successfully added the two vector values. You can see here. So when you add this corresponding value of the vector 1, vector 2 like 2, 1, you get here 3, 4, 2, you get 6, 6, 3, you get a 9. So corresponding variable values are combined or added with each other. Now next, let's perform subtraction. So create a third variable sub vec equal to tf dot subtract and now provide vec var1 and vector var2. Execute it. Now print the value of the sub vec dot numpy. Now you can see we have successfully subtracted the two vector. So when you subtract 1 from 2, you get 1, 2 from 4, you get a 2, and 3 from 6, you get a 3. Now next, let's perform multiplication with vectors. So to perform multiplication, create a third variable mul vec and then tf dot multiply vector 1 and the vector 2 variable. Execute it to perform the multiplication with vector 1, vector 2. Now let's print the value of the third variable multiplication vector mul vec dot numpy. Execute it. Successfully multiplied the two vector. Now next let's perform a division with vectors using tf dot divide. So div vec equal to tf dot divide, then provide two vectors vec1 var1 and var2. Execute this cell to perform division with vector 1 and vector 2. Now let's print the value. Print div vec dot numpy. Execute it. So you can see the result is a list of values and it contains a values of type float, which is a 2 in this case. So this is how you can perform a arithmetic operation using different functions in TensorFlow on variables or vectors. So at last I want to say don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channel and thank you.